Started up and smoke boils out of the back. I mean, fills up the whole front of the yard, the garage. Smells terrible. I mean, Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rebuild It. This episode, it was a scary one for me because I'll tell you the story of how I almost destroyed the LS9 motor already. And I'll also talk to you about how Bodyman Mike helped me to save this carbon fiber and get the scratches out of it. And we'll talk about all that right after this.
Hey guys, it's time to pick a winner for the t-shirt contest that we announced last week. All you had to do to be entered in to win was just comment ZR1 down in the comment section down below. We actually had 11 people who did that this week, which is the most we've had in a while. So let's head over to our random number generator and generate the comment that's going to win. Comment number 3. So starting from the bottom, we have 1, 2, 3. Nuclear Waste commented ZR1. Congratulations, you won a free Rebuild It t-shirt. Just send us an email and we'll get the shirt sent out to you.
Alright guys, so now we're going to give this ZR1 its first wash. Kind of rainy outside anyway. I just want to get some of the dust and everything off of it, and then I will tell you a little story. All right, so that thing is clean. Look at that carbon fiber. So now we're going to get inside and do the interior. I know it's kind of seems silly to clean it when there's busted airbags and all that, but I'm going to clean it anyway. Just because I never cleaned a ZR1 before. Okay, so I told you I would tell you a story after I got finished washing the thing. So I'm going to title this story, Country Bob Buys a Race Car. When I get this thing home, the first thing I want to do is check it and make sure that the engine's running right. There's not anything crazy wrong with the engine. There's only 11,000 miles on it, so I doubt there was, you know. It was running a little rough, if you remember, so that's because our air box was tore off, and so the sensor that was under there was just exposed. So I checked, you know, I wanted to check the oil first, and so the first thing I do, come over here and pull the dipstick right here, little blue short dipstick. Now check it, and man, that thing is super low. It's only on there about an inch, and the full mark is probably 3 inches higher than that. So I look at the cap. It says Mobile 1 SAE 5W30. So I go to the store, buy some Mobile 1 SAE 5W30, bring it back, put it in the reservoir just like you would any car, fill it up to the correct spot on the dipstick, start it up, and smoke boils out of the back. I mean, fills up the whole front of the yard, the garage, smells terrible, I mean, just almost instantly. So I shut it off. What in the world? Run back up here to the front. Something has gone wrong, so I checked the oil, and the oil level is all the way at the very tip top of the dipstick and over. So that makes no sense. And so I started doing some research and found out that this car has a dry sump. Like Any other, like any exotic car, like a Ferrari or Lamborghini, they have dry sump systems. And this is an exotic. I would call it like a supercar. Anything over 100 grand is a supercar, I would say. So that's what this has, a dry sump system. So the only way you check the oil is that you start the car, you let it warm up to 175 degrees. Once it hits 175 degrees, you shut it off, set your timer for 5 minutes, and then come back, and in 5 minutes you check your oil level, and that's the correct level. So when you're changing the oil, you look at there's 2 plugs underneath that you have to drain, and your filter's under there. So you drain both of those reservoirs, and then you put in, hopefully you get it all out. Then you put in, it's supposed to take 10.5 quarts. So what they suggest doing is putting in 10 quarts, starting it, doing your 175 degrees, let it sit, check it again, and then fill it up to your other half quart if it needs it, or if there was still some in there, fill it up to the correct spot on the dipstick. So when all that smoke started boiling out, man, I was scared that I'd ruined the motor, after having it one day. And so I got to looking on the Corvette forums and stuff, and one guy, or several guys, said, if you run it like that, you can have bent push rods, you can tear up a whole bunch of stuff in the motor. And I'm thinking, no. And then several other guys later on said, I did that, or my mechanic did that, because a lot of people don't know that about these cars. They're not like any other. I guess the way to tell is if the dipstick is not on the motor, it's a dry sump. It's over here on this reservoir. So anyway, some of them said, well, if you'll just get under there and drain however much extra you put in there, which mine was like 2 quarts extra out, and then just start it and let it run. And man, I mean, it smokes and smokes and smokes and smokes and just boils out of there. And finally, it eventually starts, getting less and less and less as it burns it out. So when I changed this air box, this is the new one now, but when I took this off, this little area right here was full of oil. All these little divots was just full of oil. So what happens is your oil reservoir right here uses that as air to suck air through that and circulate. And so this was so full of oil that the oil was backing up and getting in this tube and going all the way back down in there. And so it was sucking the oil in through the intake and just burning oil like crazy. So that was the problem. And so it burned it all out, and now it starts and runs fine and doesn't smoke. So lesson learned. And what is the lesson I learned? I guess if you don't know what you're doing and you have a very expensive new toy, make sure you get the manual first and read it. All right, guys, let me show you a little bit what I'm working around here on the back at. You can look really closely here. I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not, but there's little dots all in this paint. And so I had Body Man Mike come over the other day just to check out the Corvette, see what he thought, and kind of tell him what I wanted him to do on the paint, because he's going to do the paint for me. And he looked at it and he said, I have seen several cars from Copart come with these little dots on them. He said, it's almost like, I'm not sure or not, but it almost looks like a little burn, like they were grinding or something nearby, and little shards of metal came up and got into the paint, or there was something splattered on it or something. It's not, I don't know, like you can feel little stuff in it every once in a while on one of them, but most of the time it's just smooth. So he said, try some clay bar. I said, you think I should buff it? And he said, well, try a clay bar first. That's pretty safe. So I got a clay bar, and it was the same way right here. And man, I just clayed it, and it took all of that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and do that on this section right here in the back. I'll do this little area right here and see if we can get all this off, because I mean, it's pretty thick. All right, so the way you do clay bar, I keep this clay in a Ziploc bag. You always want to keep it kind of moist, and you need it. You really need it, man. But you need it just like dough, like you were playing with Play-Doh or something when you were a kid. You just keep twisting it and all that until you get a nice clean area on there. And then when you clay bar, you got to use a lot of lubricant. So detailer spray works good. I'm going to use some of this, spray it on here. And you just rub. And you think, man, that can't be good for the paint, but it really does. It like takes the layer of the clear coat, and it takes all the bad stuff, the word I'm trying to think of, out of it. You can tell when it starts getting too dry, it starts grabbing. And after you've done it a little bit, take your microfiber cloth and clean it off. So here's that little area right here. I mean, you don't see any, it took it off. Works really well, so I'll just keep on working. See this area here, see all those little spots? I'll just keep on working until I get this whole back end done. Another weird thing is it wasn't on the back, like it's just on this top edge right here on the last probably third of the car. This is the part I have not done. You can hear that. Here's the part I've done. Ooh. So there's almost no friction between my hand and the paint. I mean, it's just super slick and smooth right here. So we'll just keep working our way this direction until we get it all done. All right, so kudos to Bodyman Mike, because I've been hanging around Paul too much, and my first reaction to trying to get all those spots off was go get a buffer or some 3000 grit sandpaper and go to town on it. But this clay bar got them all out, and it is slick and smooth. And also, I don't know if I showed you yet or not, but there are some scratches in this carbon fiber roof. Let me see if I can get, okay, see right here, just some real light scratches. Well, there was a pretty big one right here, and I clay barred that, and it is completely gone. So I'm gonna go back through here and see if I can get these. There's one right here. You see that? One right here. Seems like there was another one somewhere. Anyway, I'm gonna do a little test and I'll try to get this one right here. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I cannot believe this. That clay bar got that big scratch out. I mean, it is gone. So, wow, that is amazing. So I'm gonna keep on doing that. I've only got a couple more in here, but it's just like the rest of the car. You can feel, hear that? It just feels rough. And over here, nothing. Super slick. So, and it's just the sun. You know, this car is from 2010, so it's 10 years old, and I'm sure it was in the garage 99% of the time, but it only has 11,000 miles on it. But just any sun on them starts to make them a little rough, so I'll keep going. Every little scratch in that thing was gone, is gone. So, anybody have anything like that, carbon fiber, and that really expensive clear coat over it? Just clay bar does it.
Hey, you got this big envelope in the mail today. What are you doing?
Walking on the dash.
Okay.
I don't want to get my boots all over my beautiful ZR1. What is it?
Says it's from the National Corvette Museum Archives.
Ooh, you know what this is?
What?
This car, when I bought it, didn't have any paperwork at all. There's nothing in the glove box. There's nothing in here. So, since it's a Corvette, you can contact the National Corvette Museum Library and Archives, and they will give you a copy of the window sticker and the build sheet. They'll not give it to you. You have to buy it. But this will tell us exactly what this car cost when it was new. Here's a blow up of the build sheet. Here is the window sticker. $120 $21,130. There's all the different options. So it had a standard vehicle price of $106,880, and then it has the 3ZR Premium Equipment Group, which is a $10,000 option. Has ZR1 chrome aluminum wheels is a $2,000 option, and then a $1,300 gas guzzler tax. So the 3ZR Premium option was custom leather wrapped interior, Bose Premium speaker system, 1-year XM satellite radio, power telescoping steering wheel, heated seats, memory package, universal home remote, seats adjustable sport bucket with perforated leather, power seat adjusted passenger 6-way, luggage shade and cargo net, Bluetooth for the phone, navigation system, and that's it. So the rest is standard ZR1. So $121,000. Wow. That's cool. That would have been a little piece of paper. This is blown up, but this would have been a little piece of paper that was like behind the front bumper, I think, usually. So when it went through the line, it told them what all to put on the car. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Rebuild It. You know, it's really gratifying to be able to put in an hour or two of work like we did on this paint and just make this. I mean, it looks like it just came off the showroom floor. It's so smooth and slick. Carbon fiber in this whole back area with the clay bar. And so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And next week, we're going to really tackle something a little bit more difficult. So we're going to tear this entire interior out of the Corvette, replace the dash, and put it all back together. So we'll see you next week.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. See you guys next week. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.